All right. Well, what is up, everyone? We're back. We are apparently live, but it doesn't seem like this is sending out to anyone. They've got this whole new thing going on where you can do like vertical and horizontal, but it doesn't look like there is. Yeah. Oh, well, if I keep my head perfectly placed in the middle, then I'm guessing that'll be all right. But what a weird thing. Why doesn't it zoom in? Anyway, guys, what on earth is actually going on for Bitcoin? Because we've got so many different ideas. We've got so many different ways to look at the charts. We've got so many different ways to look at the data. So today I want to discuss live with you what I'm doing, what I think is going on, and I want to discuss with you what you think is going on. All right. So that's what we're going to be going through in today's video. Along with everything else, like I said at the start of the video, understand that nothing in the video is financial advice. And if you can, do me a favor, let me know you're here by leaving me a little comment and also liking the video. They've completely changed the back end, but it's a very strange, I don't know, it's a very strange light. I don't know, they've done something weird. And I don't like it when things change, right? Because that is annoying. So do me a favor, guys, like it. Let me know you're here. And yes, we are live. So if we look at Bitcoin's chart right now, we can see a pattern forming. And it seems I see so many different people talking about different things happening with this pattern. Like, what is going on? What is it? Right? Is it a bear flag? Is it an ascending triangle? Is it something else entirely? Because we can do the flag, right? And we can say, okay, well, maybe that is a bear flag. It does look a lot like a bear flag to me. But we could also argue that it is an ascending triangle, right? Which isn't very strong in a downtrend from my experience. But that is a lovely line. Let me just change this, right? Something along those lines. And then you see the top here. And if we do break, 94,000, this could be very good for Bitcoin. This could be showing a proper trend change. It is normal, though, or is more likely that this could be an accumulation phase before the next leg downwards. Basically, like tricking everyone into believing that we're going to head higher. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat as well and see what's going on, because normally we got about 90 viewers here. Normally we get a lot more at the start. So I don't know if YouTube's like messed up what's going on. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that I'm broadcasting to the shorts feed as well at the same time. Do me a favor, like the stream. I can't even see the likes anymore. I don't even know what's going on. What have we got going on here? Yeah, they removed. Oh, maybe they're. I don't know. Do you guys have an option to like the video? Because I can't even see. There isn't even a like button here anymore. For me, I've got analytics. I've only got views. I got chat rate and I got viewers, but there ain't no like option. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a boomer here. But yeah, if you can, let me know, because I need your help. And yes, an inverse head and shoulders as well could be forming as well. I think it's a little bit too early to say that. But, right, for me personally, it actually doesn't matter. As you know on the channel, right, I don't actually use a lot of patterns. I don't use very in-depth technicals. What I do is support and resistance, and then macro, and then basically the emotions of the market. That's what I do, because that's what works for me. Because if I use these, this is more, in my opinion, based for a lot of short-term trading. I'm a swing trader, right? I'm a swing trader, and so I need to position myself. So if I position myself and then it gets invalidated and I have a swing position, right, I can just hold it open. It's low leverage. For example, right, there was a lot of invalidation for Solana, but I continue to add to this position. There's been a lot of invalidation for Bitcoin. I continue to add to the position, and now I'm back in profit because we only had like one Bitcoin, maybe even less on as we started. And then I averaged into the position all the way down when everything was getting invalidated, and now I'm in $12,000 of profit. It has cost me $37,000 of margin to get here, which I understand is a lot of money, but you can change that by 100x, 100x less or 10x less, right? So for me personally, what I think is happening, and it is important to pay attention to these channels, I think using technicals to understand what might happen next in the market is important. If we have a bear flag forming here, we have to watch basically, and the ascending triangle, we're basically watching this support, right? So if we break 91,000, we could fall, right, quite heavily down to about 75. If we have this ascending triangle, right, you can do the flagpole, you can do all of this, right, and to figure out where we might go next. But I think that this is looking relatively strong. I think that breaking this resistance is looking relatively strong. But remember, right, we had a 40% push to the upside in the last confirmation of going into the bear market, right? This 40% up got rejected, headed down. But it's not really that important if you have a long-term mindset. And that's why I wanted to go live. And I've been going live when the market is like it is now. It's scary. It's not like as nice as it normally is. And in these moments, this is where wealth is built, right? Me averaging into my positions during the bear market is how I've made the most amount of money. And so I want to make sure that people see this, but they have to understand this is no guaranteed bet. All right. So there are some other things happening. We got Ted Pillows saying that he is looking at this as a bear flag and it's hard to ignore. A 12-hour close above 96,000 level will invalidate the bear flag, however. So 96,000 could be the level to watch, whereas a drop below 86,000 could be the level to push Bitcoin back down to the lows. Now, we also have this, right? The Fed starts T-bill purchases today at 9 a.m. 40 billion planned for the first month. And people are still bearish. Of course, they can still be bearish. We may very well still go into a bear market even with these purchases, right? Something's happening with the stream. Hopefully, it sorts itself out. I got really fast internet, but of course, doesn't work perfectly. So why is this going to be good for potentially Bitcoin, right? Because it boosts overall market liquidity. The Fed's buying spree increases money supply by effectively printing dollars to purchase short-term government debt. This floods the banks and institutions with cash, encouraging risk-taking and capital flows into higher yield assets. BTC thrives in liquid environments like that, as seen in 2020 to 2021 QE era. That's the difference, right? The reason why people have the gumption to have the hopium that they have, right? And the fact that they could still be like, okay, well, the 4-year cycle's not happening, is this cycle happened in a different sort of circumstance. So I've just noticed there's like water on the end of these leaves. I don't know where that might be coming from. That's so strange. I could show you. But we're in a different market and liquidity environment than we've been in the last 2 bull markets. That's why people are bullish when, you know, the 4-year cycle says it's over. Now, we also have a weakening of the US dollar. This is going to continue to happen. The US dollar is going to continue to get weaker as inflation continues to happen, money printing continues to happen. That's essentially why stocks go up forever, right? And the S&P 500 goes up, gold goes up, silver's now going up, because in the US dollar is going to get weaker. There's going to be more and more inflation. And it's just basically assets go up in value in those sorts of environments, right? And of course, the Fed is signaling a dovish shift, right? So next year could be actually quite good for the markets. The markets are scared. Like the overall markets are scared, but the S&P 500 and yeah, just to make sure, because yesterday we were talking about it. Yesterday the S&P 500 closed green, right? We're not quite open yet. There's a few hours to go until we open, but the S&P 500 is basically at all-time highs, guys. The Nasdaq was down a little bit, but very close to all-time highs. Gold and silver, all-time highs. Absolutely incredible moves from gold, incredible moves from silver, right? This is, look at that. Silver's at all-time highs. Silver is the Ethereum to gold, right? So this is telling me that there is liquidity there, but people don't quite trust Bitcoin. Why don't they trust Bitcoin? Why don't they trust crypto? Because overall, apart from Bitcoin, it's all been crap, right? We can all agree. There has been gains. XRPs, Solana, Sui, Ethereum, right? We've made gains from them, but, you know, overall, the market's been a bit crap. And I think that's why people, they're seeing it, right? They're seeing. These are real people with real amounts of money. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffing. Buffing. What's going on? Why is my stream health bad? What is it? What's the problem? Wait, 1 second, guys. Let me just update. All right, well, we'll see if that makes it any better. Let me know. Let me know because we're back to good stream health here, so hopefully that will make it better. If you guys can do me a favor, there's almost 300 of you. The most important thing to get this video out to more people is the like. So if you can smash the like button, it will really help this stream and it will tell me that you guys want me to be going live more often. All right. That's what I'm trying to give back while the market is down. I want to, answer questions and all of that sort of stuff. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah, silver and Bitcoin. So this is telling me, right, there is money, but people don't believe in Bitcoin right now. Why don't they believe in Bitcoin? Because the price is down. All right. So it's an early investment. I know like 13 years doesn't seem that early, but it is. It's really early on. And for big money, they prefer it when the price is stable and slightly up. So we've just had the big crash. If we do move up, I think there's more likelihood that this could move into a more bullish move again, considering the liquidity, considering all of that. And that's why Bitcoin is being left behind, because it's fallen off, because it's manipulated and people don't trust it right now. So they didn't trust it here, they didn't trust it here, and they didn't trust it here, and they didn't trust it here, and they didn't trust it here. And I go on, right? Fortune favors the brave. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? If you want the most amount of gains, that's what you have to do, right? I was almost 100% crypto before really this run. I was definitely 100% here. And then in this run, I got a little bit of, here. And then in this time, I got property. And then I have moved down into significantly less than 75%. But if you want the most amount of gains, it's the most amount of risk. High risk, high reward, right? That's the truth. But you can risk getting absolutely annihilated. But if you don't want to be on the emotional roller coaster, you take supplementary income, money you have left over each month, and then you put it into the market, right? Maybe it's gold, maybe it's silver, maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's S&P 500, whatever, right? But buying when everyone else is scared, in the history, the all-time history of Bitcoin, has proven to be a good idea, right? Even if we went into a bear market, even if this is the start of the bear market, according to history, it's been a great time to buy, as long as your time horizon is at least 4 years, right? If it's not, then don't buy, because that would be crazy. But according to history, it's always been a good time to buy, even here. Even if this is exactly where we are and we get rejected, there was a great time to buy. I was buying here, and I don't regret that for a second, right? Now, what else is going on in the market? So we have liquidity coming in, right? We have open interest rising quite rapidly. And we have silver, like we discussed, at a new all-time high. Silver has always been an early signal for a risk on assets. It's interesting. If you look at this chart, right, silver makes a high, and then a few months later, Bitcoin does. Silver, Bitcoin, silver, Bitcoin, silver, Bitcoin. Silver right now, and Bitcoin is nowhere to be found. So again, this could be a precursor to a move. It's not a guarantee, but it is something we've seen in the past. You can see there's other times where Bitcoin has rallied, and so is silver. Bitcoin has rallied, so is silver. But more times than not, or more often than not, we see that when silver's going up, so is Bitcoin, right? A little bit later. And then we also have this whale. So there is someone with a lot of money right now, right? A lot of money going long on Ethereum. I think they're also long on Bitcoin as well. But $490 million long position right now. Ash Crypto says that at this point, it feels like he knows something. That's right now, guys. In this market, when people are scared, right? So I have my Ethereum long. I do kind of wish I added more. This is the smallest position here, but hey. We've got the Bitcoin long. And then we have the Solana long, which is green sometimes and it's red sometimes. But I'd actually think Solana's going to break out. And if it does, this position is going to absolutely print, right? This position is going to print and the Bitcoin position is going to print. So I'm very excited to see if that could happen. But what I also know is that I understand that it's not guaranteed, right? So the money I put into these trades, we recently opened an XRP trade, for example, I can afford to lose. The Dogecoin trade, $1,300 in unrealized, $11,000, it doesn't matter, right? But these trades are doing well because I took the risk, but I have to make sure I protect my downside. Preserving capital in this market is the most important, right? Because we're going to get volatile moves. People are going to get scared and it's going to be a scary time. So I've recently gone a little bit more risk on, little bit, not too much, but I basically opened a new trade here on XRP. If you guys want to take part and you want to trade, BitUnex is linked down there in the description, right? I've been hounding all of the exchanges that I work with for the best opportunities possible for you guys while we're in this horrible condition. Now, BitUnex has put up the most amount of money so far with 60,000 USDT. This is going to be given away in 3 different rounds. You can access this if you are already someone who trades under my link. If you are already someone who uses BitUnex, I'll tell you in a second if you haven't signed up under my link, but you use BitUnex. Or if you want to sign up right now, the link is in the description. Now, when you deposit, when you trade, you'll get tickets. Those tickets will be part of the raffle, and then you might win that, all right? If you already trade on BitUnex, but you didn't find BitUnex through me, you just found it on Google or whatever, right? You can fill out this form, which is linked below this video, and you can get a guaranteed loyal users airdrop. This is, again, to give away to people who are already using it, up to 2,200 and VIP 5, right? You can only submit 1 per user, so don't try and game the system. They'll figure it out. But this will also put you under me and will also give you access to this $60,000 prize pool. Now, this is going to be awesome. I'm hoping we can figure out a way that maybe I can go live and I can pull the user who won. And I don't know, hopefully we can chat or they'll be here. I don't know. But that would be the great thing. But this is awesome, right? This is a great opportunity. If you're already trading, whether it's on another exchange and you bring over to this exchange to be part of it, or you're already on BitUnex and you signed up and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, that's down there. That's the market. Those are my trades, and I'm going to hand it over to you guys to answer me some questions before we wrap things up, because the best part of live streams are I can answer questions. I can be here with you, and it's real. I'm a real person. So we just broke 100 likes. We've got 334 people. Guys, can you please do me a favor and give me 50 likes so I can then start answering questions? If I get 50 more likes, we'll hopefully get more people in and we can start answering more questions. And what's in the cup today? Boring old water. Or maybe it's straight something else. I don't know. But the color is see-through. All right. So let's answer some questions. Guys, we've got 105 likes. Do me a favor. Come on, like up the thing. Like it up. I don't know if it's just super delayed, but I can now see likes. But I don't know if it's like super delayed with the updates. Because it used to be a lot faster than that. I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, help me out. Gin. Yeah, imagine. It's annoying how this guy uses foul language so much for his covers. Guys, what does it matter? Like, can I just, I put in the video, right? It's not for children. So, like, it's not for children. So don't watch it. Don't click on it. Don't follow me. All right? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Come on, guys. Only 20 of you liked it and 300 people are here. I know a lot of you are on Apple TV and stuff, but help me out. Got it. I like button. And I'll start answering some questions for you guys. You just realized it's live. I know I'm live, mate. Come on. Come on. It's not, no, it's weird for me to be live. It's weird, but I want to go live more. Thank you. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. All right. Do I think we're stuck in a narrative-based bull market, or do you think slow gains will be more likely in 2026? I think there's a chance that we move into a bull market again here. It's the thing is, the liquidity and the sentiment in the market can flip so quickly, right? It seems doom and gloom, and then like one thing happens, like Trump tweets something, or something good happens, or we get a new Fed or whatever, right? And then instantly everybody forgets. Because I can tell you right now that from here, like this, right? This period was absolute carnage. 55% drawdown in Bitcoin, right? But at this point here, everyone forgot this happened. And everyone continually forgets this happened, this happened, this happened. The most interesting thing about this bull run, right, is everyone has already forgotten that this was the rally on the news of the ETF. The ETF being launched, right? And Bitcoin collapsed 21%. That's like 10% more or less, sorry, than the crash that we've just been in, right? And everyone's forgotten. They're like, oh, this is the worst crash Bitcoin's ever had, 35%. But after we had the most bullish news ever, Bitcoin crashed 21%. So the market, you know, it's very forgiving. And trust me, when you go through these cycles a lot, you'll realize it's crazy, right? And the OGs know, but it's crazy how quickly the market forgets. What do I think about Aether right now? Aethir. Along with pretty much all altcoins that are actually building something. Wow, I've got a whole dead leaf. Along with all of the, like, if there's no liquidity, I don't believe they're going to rock it. When the liquidity comes back, the projects that continue to build, continue to work hard, and continue to like do everything they said, those will be successful. Will Aether be one of them? I don't know. I invested into Aether really early on. I do have some tokens, but they're just saying they're waiting there patiently for hopefully the alt season we never really saw. Tom Lee says he's seeing a bullish Q1. Yeah, exactly. A lot of the big guys are seeing that, but then a lot of people say, well, they're biased. But my argument would be, would you base your entire reputation on, a bearish sentiment if all you were here to do was to dump on the people that you're talking to? I think it's way too short-sighted. Do I believe the bottom is in for the short term? I don't know. I don't know. I would like to say that right now what's happening is we've put in the bottom and we're on either our dead cat bounce or the next leg. And I know that's basically saying it could go up and down, but we need confirmation, right? For the same reason why I didn't get too bearish here, I didn't like sell all of my spot Bitcoin and all of that. It's because it takes time, right? It takes time to confirm these things. But if we liken what's happening here to what's happened here, right? It's very similar. It's very similar. Although you could argue that these sorts of formations, this is a bull flag, right? You could argue that depending on how this one here is a bull flag. But, this form could be a bear flag or it could be an ascending triangle. Both of which, either way, we just need to look. I like to look at the resistance. And if we break those, right now it looks to me like we're going to break this, right? The more times we try, it looks to me. But again, manipulators might be trying to convince us. But if there's manipulation in the market, it's most likely because they're holding it down, in my opinion, rather than propping it up now to convince people to go long. But again, I could be wrong. So I think that I've been buying because I believe that this could be the last opportunity for me to get it at a better price. However, if it does go lower, I'll continue to buy, right? So, accumulating at every $10,000 down is essentially the plan. What's up with the night token? I don't know. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. Yeah, Benjamin Cowan believes we're already in a bear market. That's awesome. And I think it's great that you're watching Benjamin Cowan. I think you should watch the most bullish people in the world, the most bearish people in the world, and the people who sit in the middle. And that way you can get like an out, like it's like when you have like when you're having not an argument, like an angry one, but like, an argument about an opinion, right? You want to understand the other person's reason, right? So that's the best way. You understand everyone's reasoning and then you get your own information. And it's fine to be wrong. When you're having a disagreement with someone because they believe one thing, you believe another, and then you realize that actually they're right, it's great. So you need to get all of the information from everywhere. So I watch Benjamin Cowan sometimes as well, and I like to see his opinions. It's 7 a.m. in the US. Yeah, it's probably too early for me to do these live streams. I wanted to test doing it a little bit earlier than I normally do to see if it made any difference. What's up, Pesh? I'm coming live to give you guys more value, hopefully, or just me yapping. This whole cycle has been a show for ETH and the alts. I don't think it has been, honestly, for ETH and some of the alts, but if you were in the wrong ones, it has been terrible. I agree. Like, it's not been the bull run we were hoping for. Peter Morton. So we have all this good news coming out. Bills are being passed. What bear market? The thing is by price, we are in a bear market, right? But Bitcoin doesn't work the same as the S&P 500 and things. And even the S&P 500, like, who cares? The last bear market, technically, right? Because S&P 500 dropping 20% is a bear market. And the last bear market lasted like, what, a couple of days, 20 minutes. This one, right? Very brief. But I wouldn't really be too worried about that. Wait, have I gone absolutely insane? I think I might have. Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about, not the 5% drop here. So from the high to the low, 21%. So technically it was a bear market for like a day. Like, yeah, like couple of days, let's say 3 days. But these things can bounce even in the stock market world. It's like if Bitcoin behaves like this, right? If this is what happens, right? If this is what happens, we had this push up. Everyone thought that it was the relief rally, probably leverage came in, they get rejected, and then we head higher, right? And that could be exactly what's happening right now, even in the stock market. The same thing happens and it's not the end of the world, right? So that's the thing. If you're holding an asset, maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's one of the altcoins. If you're holding an asset that you think is going to be around in 4 years from now and you think it's going to be higher than now, then the price is better, right? That's what we want. Mm, 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 mm. But liquidity should come in 2026. Yeah, that makes sense if we get liquidity. But the liquidity comes basically from excitement, right? From retail talking about it and that sort of stuff, right? Does your spot holdings include gold? No, right now it doesn't. But I actually am considering. So right now, my biggest holdings across all of the assets that I invest in are Bitcoin and real estate, and then the S&P 500, but let's call it ETFs. The S&P 500, Nasdaq, and All World. That's basically, I treat that as like one, right? So I invest into that once a week, once a month, or every day. I might start doing it every day. But I am considering now doing, because I don't invest daily or weekly or whatever into like altcoins. I only do that with Bitcoin and when Bitcoin's down, right? When Bitcoin's down. But I may consider start adding Bitcoin, gold, and silver as like a daily investment, like a reoccurring buy. I'm considering it, but I don't like to buy things at all-time highs. So, I don't want to start. So if I were to buy it, I wouldn't do an all-time like a big lump sum purchase. I would just buy, for example, what I would daily buy the S&P 500. I would also buy that. I wouldn't lump sum it, right? Because in that way I can get all of the moves in the market. But I'm still considering it. I'm still deciding. I only recently in the crash, right? In that crash that we just spoke about here, I only recently started buying stocks. I really didn't have any stocks apart from CleanSpark, of course. And then maybe I had BMNR at this point. I can't remember. But I only really started buying stocks here because I was waiting for an opportunity. A 20% pullback in a matter of weeks for the S&P 500 is exactly what I see as an opportunity, just like I see Bitcoin crashing as an opportunity. Why I started buying at 100, 95, 90, 85, because it's an opportunity in my eyes. Like that I genuinely see with the S&P 500 crashing, I see that as a great opportunity, right? So I see the same as Bitcoin. Now, I'm kind of seeing Ethereum and Solana the same, but not. It's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, right? That's kind of it. But and it would be the buys would be much smaller. But Bitcoin, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, but that's where I feel the most comfortable dollar cost averaging. Do I ever hesitate DCA if I'm expecting a dip? Absolutely, yes. And I was actually having a good chat with one of my best mates, Mr. Chat GPT, yesterday, to try and figure out. Like I was researching for a video, and essentially what I was asking was, since my investment journey started in 2017. So since 2017, would it have been better if I only, like, for example, first of all, I asked how much money if I put in X amount every single day. Let's say it was $10, right? Every single day since 2017, right? How much money would I have put in? And then calculate that money, divide it by 3, because we've had 20% pullbacks on the S&P 500 since then. Divide that by 3 and then lump sum buy on the 20% dip each time. Which one would I have done better in? And actually the daily buying is better, right? It's better than timing the market. So even if you time it almost perfectly for the S&P 500. So my conclusion is, again, just DCA. And it's an emotional thing, right? It's definitely based on emotion. But once you go through these situations in your head over and over and over again, it's a learning curve, right? I'm new to the S&P 500. I'm new to stocks relative, right? And yeah, it's just like getting over those barriers in your head where you're like, okay, the price is going down. Should I DCA? And then everyone, you hear people, well, don't catch a falling knife. It's only really a falling knife, in my opinion, if you're a short-term trader, right? Or you don't believe in the asset or the asset being higher in 1 to 5 years. Because at the end of the day, if you're a short-term trader, you've got to think about those short-term trades differently. Yes, it's catching a falling knife, right? DCAing every day doesn't work in a short-term trade. Um, so yeah, sorry if I yapped on a bit too much there, but let me know. Next dump level down to about 75K. Yeah, that's where my support is for Bitcoin. If we do end up losing the battle of the bear flag or the ascending triangle or whatever you want to call it, right around here between 74 and 77. Guys, if you're new to the stream, do me a favor, smash up the like button, smash it up. And if you haven't already, right, I asked all of the exchange partners that I have here on the channel to give back to the community while the market's absolutely crap. BitUnex put up the most amount of money so far, 60,000 USDT. This is for traders who trade using the affiliate link below this video. There's going to be 3 draws. The first draw is going to be on the 16th, so in 4 days from now, and that'll be a 20,000 USDT draw. So you guys can earn this by depositing and by trading on the exchange. And if you are already trading on BitUnex, but you didn't sign up using my link, you can also fill out the form, which is below this video, so you can be part of this. And you can also get up to 2,200 for loyal users. So that link is in the description. And guys, just recently on BitUnex, I opened this XRP long. It's now in $400 of profit, but it's only up a little bit, 6%, right? So I think this could be a great opportunity. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but we'll have to wait to see that. But the exchange I chose to do that on is BitUnex. I've been trading on there for years. So if you want to check it out, those links are down there. But remember, guys, the most important smashing of the links is actually the like button. That sounded silly. Is there a list of tools that I use? Well, I do have a lot of, like I have all of my courses that I used to charge for free now. So if you use the WAP link, I think it's maybe the 3rd link below this video. But yeah, if you go on there, you'll get access to like all of this stuff. Exchanges I trade on, exact trading strategies, mastering the crypto basics. That was a course I used to charge for. Oh, I'm not even showing you. I'm just looking at my big head. That was a course I used to charge for, and then macro insights. So all of those go through everything. And then we've got some groups there as well. All free, guys, if you want to check that out. Liquidity drives the cycle. Everything else is noise. Completely agree. Exactly. And we're waiting for liquidity. Liquidity, right? Liquidity in the market. But I actually think there's more liquidity in the market than what people think, right? Because of, for example, silver, right? So I think there is actually liquidity in the market. That liquidity is just not, let's call it feral or degen, right? It's not degen liquidity. It's liquidity from people that probably have, on average, and this is me speculating, I don't know, but like a lot of money or a little bit of money, and they don't want to risk losing it, which is actually a good way of thinking, right? They don't want to risk losing it on something like Bitcoin that dropped 30% recently. So they're buying something that didn't drop 30% recently, like silver, like gold. But when Bitcoin gets to 100K again, and then your average for the year, right? Let's just say, like, you know, and then they put, you know, year to date, sorry, gold. I got confused with gold and Bitcoin. Is that a good or a bad sign? You know, Bitcoin gets to 100K, right? And then they go, okay, what's it done for the last year? Right. So, you know, January to January, oh, it's the same price as 100K, right? Or it's gone up 10%, or it's only down 5% or whatever. They're like, I like that sort of risk. And now everyone's saying it's bullish again. The market's all bullish. Everyone's going crazy about Bitcoin. And they're like, okay, well, I'll put a bit of money there. And I just think that's why. And I think like liquidity is very important. Of course, we need the liquidity, but we also need excitement. We also need people caring. And right now, nobody cares. And this is exactly what happens every time the price goes down. The price goes up, everyone cares. The price goes down, no one cares. Up, everyone cares. Down, no one cares. And just rinse and repeat for absolute years on end. And everyone's scared in a bear market, right? Oh, everyone's scared when the price is down. And I get it. That's just how it is. Of course, I am in a way. Like, I'm not saying I'm superhuman. I'm seeing my portfolio 30% for a significant part of my net worth. It's wild, right? But that's the people who win are the people who can sustain the volatility, right? And they believe in something. Will I be streaming Arc Raiders? Maybe. I've been playing a bit of COD. And I was thinking, like, could I mix a crypto stream with me playing COD so we could be on it for ages? But wouldn't even know how to connect. I've got a separate PlayStation and monitor here. I wouldn't even know how to connect it. I'm like so terrible with it. What would I say a good take profit region on Solana is in the immediate short term? Well, we can check. I don't actually have any take profits on the Solana trade, but that is because this is a long-term swing trade, right? So I'd probably start taking profits like a first little nibble around this region. So if I put this in horizontal line, probably around there. Oh yeah, that's nice. Probably around. I mean, you could, if you wanted to be conservative, about there, and then about there, and then there. It really depends on how I like to take profit rather than percent gains at previous resistance or previous strong support, right? So those would be regions that I would be considering taking profits on the way up. And then I might just spread them out a little bit more because I'd be safe at this point and do something like that. So if you look at the way that is, right, that's basically how I would take profits. And it's pretty much exactly what I did here. So you can see we have very tight regions of profit taking because as we start to bounce, I want to make sure and protect myself as quickly as possible. And then we can get more risk on, right? Because we have, in this trade, I got $11,000 in this trade. So it's like, I don't really care, right? I can risk it and it can get stopped out. I secured $11,000. So my take profits can be a little bit more spread out. Hopefully that makes sense. What would I say is a good, oh yeah. I see many people talking about altcoins, but be careful. Bitcoin goes 77. Most altcoins. Yep, altcoins will go down if Bitcoin goes down for sure. Yes, I do think that that's the case. But guys, Bitcoin can go down and then still can go up after it, right? It doesn't that's the hard thing about basing your perception on exactly what's gonna happen, like exactly what people say, exactly the 4-year cycle, that sort of stuff. You're always bullish if you have a long-term strategy. That's why I'm always bullish. And it makes people really frustrated because they're like, how can this guy stay bullish? But I stayed bullish in the last bear market. I stayed bullish in the bear market before that. And it turned out phenomenally, right? And, I bought an altcoin at the top of the 2017 bull market and it annihilated me. But I stuck to crypto. I didn't give up. I didn't leave when it was boring, when it was scary, which is what most people do. I don't know. Sorry, Pesh, I don't know what Night USDT is. What kind of money are you talking about with these trades? It honestly doesn't doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of money I'm doing, right? You can see my money that I'm using in these live trades that I show you guys on the channel, right? There's $6,900 in margin in this one. And then there's a bunch more in this one, 23, 5, and 37, right? But it doesn't matter how much money I'm using because it's not relevant. It's the percentage, right? So like the percentage of the amount of money you have in the account and what you can afford to lose. Just because I can put $5,000 in a trade doesn't mean you should, right? It depends on your strategy. You could put $50 in the trade, $500 in the trade, $0 in the trade, right? Do I take short trades? Not yet. Not yet. If I'm confirmed and I'm sure we're in a bear market, then I will. But in a market environment like this, where I do think the liquidity is going to come back, I don't want to short yet because I can sleep at night with long positions because I'm like, I think it's going to eventually go up. But whereas with short positions, I can't sleep at night because I feel like it's going to go up, right? However, if I was day trading, if I was short-term trading, I would be taking shorts because there's a lot of volatility and it's perfect environment, right? This volatility is a great environment for shorts and longs. If you bought at the wrong time high, but are planning to hold for the long term, would you just keep adding to your position as it goes down? Yes, I would. However, the caveat to that is it depends on what you're holding and how much you actually believe in it. For example, with the story I said at the 2017 crash where I was buying an altcoin, right? I bought this altcoin. It was ICX. It was dubbed Korea's Ethereum. It did absolutely nothing after this point, right? I made so much money on it. I thought I was a G. It didn't work out. But I didn't dollar cost average into it as the price went down because, the reason I bought it was because someone on Twitter said it was Korea's Ethereum. That's the reason. That's why I always preach, don't follow me. Don't blindly follow anyone. Watch 5 different YouTubers, follow 10 different Twitter accounts, 3 different news channels, right? And make sure one of them's left and one of them's right. And use all of that information to get a picture and then figure out your strategy. Right? Because my strategy was I'm going to go on Twitter, I'm going to find altcoins that people like, and I'm going to buy them. Oh, this one's Korea's Ethereum. Brilliant. I'm going to buy that. Right? And all the while, there was B and B. There was, sorry, not BNB. There was Cardano sitting right there, but I wasn't doing my research. There was Bitcoin sitting right there, right? There was Ethereum sitting right there, but I wasn't doing my research. And I didn't understand. So therefore, when the price went down, I wasn't convicted anymore because I was only in it because of the price, right? So would I DCA if you're talking about Bitcoin? Absolutely, right? Because this is my favorite thing to yap about. And I really do, I do believe this. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you had bought Bitcoin at the all-time high in 2017, right now we could all straight away agree, right? We can all straight away agree it was a brilliant time to buy. But it took like the crazy 1,000 days. So the crazy thing is, right, is right now in 2025, if someone told you they bought in 2017, you'd be like, you are, sir, or madam, or whatever, an absolute genius. Congratulations for being a G of a trader. But I didn't feel like that for 1,100 days. In fact, you felt like, and I know the feeling because I was literally here, you're a bloody idiot, right? I'm a bloody bumbling, stupid moron idiot, right? But what I did was, as well as this ICX, I actually also had Cardano, which went down 98%. I also had Bitcoin. I think I also had Ethereum. And very early on around here, I also had XRP, right? Which people love to say did nothing, but it actually outperformed Bitcoin in the last 2.5 years. But anyway, so you buy the very top, right? And you go, oh, I'm an idiot. And then the price goes down. And because you're still an early trader, you're still emotional, you still follow what the crowd does. We go down and you get scared. But this time you don't sell. But then you start to rally and you go, oh, I don't want to miss out. And you buy more. And then it falls down. And then you don't want to miss out and you buy more. And then it falls down. And then you sell here. And that's when you get annihilated and you leave. And that's the story and the villain arc of most people. But now, if you follow this, and actually what you do is instead of having like a 2-week, 2-month time horizon, you go, okay, I know the bull market is, it's approximately, right, we know now. In this point, it was even more scary because we actually had no idea. Like Bitcoin is crypto is so ingrained in our communities now, in our world. The president talks about it. But if you say, okay, well, the average bull bear market lasts a year. So at very minimum, I'm going to know that if we are in a bear market, the price is going to go down for a year. And you just accept that, right? And then it's probably going to go sideways for another year. You just accept that. You're like, that is what's going to happen if we go into a bear market. Just accept it. So I'm just going to buy, DCA, let's just say once a month or every day or once a week, whatever you choose, right? And I'm just going to do that over a long period of time, as long as it takes. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, but that's the average, right? Maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 6 months. So I'm buying now because maybe we're not in a bear market yet. But yes, absolutely. If I thought the price was going to go up, I would buy it because that's what I did with Cardano. And now Cardano was, oh, that was, I say a normal bloke. I'm still a normal bloke, but that was like, what? I put I think it was 2 grand over this whole bear market, right? I put 2 grand into Cardano. And that, Cardano did an absolutely obscene run. And that completely changed my life. And all I did, right, was I just researched a couple of coins and I thought, I'm just going to buy a bit. And that was a normal amount of money, right? It wasn't anything big. It wasn't even close to the amount of money that I'm trading with right here. But it absolutely changed my life, right? So find something that you believe in, that you're convinced in, and just dollar cost average. Gold, silver, S&P, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, random coin insert here. It doesn't matter, but you have to be in it for the long run. You have to be able to sustain. If you're going to do an altcoin, you have to be able to stay 98% down. This is from my experience, right? Because that's what happened with Cardano. If you're going to be in Bitcoin, you have to be able to sustain 77 to 80% drawdown in a bear market. If you can't, don't mess with it. And I'm here to tell you, you can't actually time the bottom. No one does. And they do if they DCA. And then they say, oh, I managed to get to the bottom as one of my buys. But anyway, guys, there's 500 people on the stream. Loving it. We've been almost live for an hour. If you could do me a favor, like the video. Helps it get out to more people and it shows me that you want me to go live. I'm absolutely starving. But I actually ate quite recently. So maybe I'm sick. Who knows? All right. If a person has a bunch of coins but hold convictions in three to Thor, is it practice to hold or sell the ones far gone? So one thing you could do, right? If we are in a bear market, this isn't financial advice. I don't know your financial position. I also don't know what you're holding, but I've done this before, and it's consolidating, right? So you can, for example, take coin X, and all coins are down, but you've done your research, done more and more research, and you're like, okay, well, they're all down, right? Everything's down, but I believe in X. I believe in coin B and C, but X has done really badly. I don't actually believe in it. You could just sell X and buy B, right? And then, but like, get it back into the investment. Don't put it on the sidelines. That's what I would do. Because like consolidating all of this nonsense that I've bought, I did it in 2021 for sure. Consolidating all of that nonsense and then making sure I'm back in the market. In fact, I think if memory serves me, and I don't want to say this as fact because I'm not actually sure, but now that I'm saying it, I actually think I did exactly that. I think I sold the ICX from the story, the Korean Ethereum. It's not, but I sold that and I bought Cardano, which turned out to be the best trade. So absolutely, that's what I did, and it worked out. But of course, you have to be, willing to lose that money. But yeah, it could be an idea. And then you can focus, right? The thing is it's hard to put into words how important understanding what you hold is, because it really removes the emotion. Because when you're in a meme coin, there is literally nothing other than community and other than hype, right? So it's a very emotional roller coaster. That's why I always get my initial out as quickly as possible. So the same can be said, like, if you actually like Bitcoin, I fundamentally believe in it, right? I actually believe in it. So if the price is going down, I think and believe that the market is mispricing it. That's it. So I'm comfortable buying it. Exactly the same with S&P 500, right? And if you feel the same as that about gold, then maybe gold is your option, right? There's so many options out there. Crypto carpenter. I'm more yap than I am TA for sure. Love yapping. But the community we've built here on the channel is absolutely awesome in my opinion. And I owe you guys. That's why I want to go live, because I owe you to be here when the market isn't only colorful, right? When the market isn't green consecutively. Like, we have an amazing time. And I went live a lot in the last bear market, in 2022, 2023. And yeah, it's like some of my proudest moments are the fact that there are people who watched my live streams and my videos, of course, but they watched my live streams, they saw my analysis and my thought process, just my opinion, right? And like we did so well, right? Even in this bull run, people say that we never even had a bull run, but like, my biggest positions being Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, for example, and XRP, they did incredibly well, even in this run, even where we sit right now, even with only taking 25% profit, right? So, strange number calling me. We'll ignore that. But yeah. Uh, Unfortunately, I'm on a phone watching a video, so I don't see your screen. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just testing this new. They've got a new widget for going live in shorts rather than thing. Are you watching in the horizontal? Can anyone who's watching in the horizontal, what's it like? Is it worth doing that, or should I just stick with the vertical, or should I just stick with the horizontal? Uh, Sorry, I missed Stark Skynet. I missed your question before about the taxes. The reason I ask is because if you have your audience making 200-300 trades, they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know what the original question was. Maybe ask again so I can see. Shorts are faster, made money, but less of a sleep. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Like, if you're a short-term trader, day trader, shorts absolutely, right? And maybe that's the same. Like, we can hold long-term shorts in a confirmed bear market, but I don't believe we're in a confirmed bear market yet. We're on the precipice. We're on the precipice of it. If a person holds sui, ondo, sei, do you keep DCA? That sounds like a rhyme. Sui, ondo, sei, do you keep DCA? And the answer is, I have absolutely no idea what your financial position is, and I have absolutely no idea what your belief in those three coins are. If you believe in sui like I believe in Bitcoin, like I've just said, then absolutely. Why not? But it only depends on that. Because if you DCA now and if the price goes down 98% and you're going to panic at the 98% drop, then you've lost all of that money, right? And that's I've been through that multiple times and it's worked out well. But in the same case, I've been through it multiple times where it hasn't worked at all. That's why a nice diversified portfolio it doesn't keep you safe, but it gives you the best, in my opinion, the best opportunity. At what point do I think retail will no longer be able to buy Bitcoin once governments start buying it for their strategic reserve? Normies will surely be locked out. No, I don't think that's ever going to happen because I think it's like, there's a million. Bitcoin can be spread into a million pieces, right? So there's like trillions of pieces. So it will just be the amount of Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin, I do believe, is going to be a lot of money. And I think that, like, if you mean when will retail not be able to buy one Bitcoin? Not that far away, but Satoshis, right? The denomination. People will always be able to buy that, in my opinion. Max Payne is definitely the upside. Bear market has been and gone. Yeah, I definitely think Max Payne is up because I think there's a ton. I think the move on silver and gold shows us that there is an absolute wild amount of money sitting on the sidelines, right? So most people, whether they're crypto degens or not, think that the bear market is here and we're going to go significantly lower. So I believe that Max Payne is up. Bitcoin is starting to pump now, is it? 92.4. Nah, we call that a pump. We want to break 96 and then we can go, all right, it's on. Is this the dead cat bounce or is it, is it? How do I feel about AI and what other kinds of investments do I currently have? I know you have made money in CoreWeave. I've never made any money in CoreWeave. I don't even know what that is. I think, or CleanSpark, maybe you mean CleanSpark. AI, yes, bullish, but I'm bullish. That's why I buy the NASDAQ, right? I'm not a stock picker. I actually believe that crypto goes mainstream in the sense of buying, and a lot of money floods in when we get an S&P 500 style ETF. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever the top 10 coins, or maybe top 20, I don't know. But that's actually what I think is going to bring the most amount of liquidity in. My long-term holds are what I've been holding in crypto, which I keep saying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Does anyone else have the problem with the new iPhone when you search for apps and it doesn't come up unless you go all the way to where all the apps are? Let me know. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP. I have still some Moonwell. I have a small amount of DOT. And I have the Weeks token. And I have the multi-bank token. I was an early stage investor into multi-bank. It's not done very well. And then Weeks done really well early on. I took profits and now I'm holding purely profit. But it was a large position. It was a large bet that I made. And I shared it here on the channel as well. But those are the long-term positions. I have a ton of other crypto that is very small right now because, of course, most things have not gone to zero, but they've gone down loads. So that's that. And then my 3 ETFs, and then my real estate, and then I have cash right now as well. Monthly income, I'm storing some of it in cash, and then some of it I'm deploying every day, basically. Guys, can you do me a favor if you're new to the stream? Like it up. That will really help me. Can you go through how to long and short? I won't do that because I think that'll bore a lot of people who are a little bit further. But I absolutely have what's for you, which is the free WAP, which is below this video. Here is Mastering the Crypto Basics. It used to be a course that I charged for. It's like 4.5 hours or 3.5 hours. We got the Macro Insights course, another 2 hours. We got my trading strategy. We got the exchanges I trade on. This is all free. And then there's a trading community as well in there. So if you follow the link to the WAP, I'll go through exactly how to do all of that. The altcoins I plan to buy will just be the ones. I might add Sui to that, depending. How low are we on Sui actually? How is Sui doing these days? Because Sui was probably my biggest leverage trade that we did here on this channel. It was an incredible trade. I took you through one of the strategies of like starting with lower leverage and then increasing the leverage but removing the margin, and it did really well. Uh, Sui USDT. Yeah, $1.65. Like up here was crazy, right? April 24 was November. Where's April? Wow. Yeah, around here. This was where I was DCAing it, and then we made a lovely amount of profit. And then now, actually, given where it is, quite an interesting buying opportunity here. I may add some Sui to the spot bag. I will, of course, let you guys know if I do that. Do I think after the mini alt season we had back in November 24 and most never came back even after Bitcoin hit new all-time highs that people might now lose faith in alts? Yes, I think that's clearly what's happened. I think the alt season that we had in 24 was actually not mini. It was absolutely massive. You had meme coins going to billions of dollars. And I think, yes, a lot of people are jaded because it was a lot of people. It's the same, but the point is it's the same as every run, right? New people come in, the liquidity gets sucked up. It was worse because it was meme coins and it was more euphoric and all of that stuff. But I think that new people there'll always be new people, but those new people need to have money, right? In 2021, they had stimulus. In 2024, they had hope of a new president, right? A new bullish president on crypto. So you need like excitement. You need liquidity is one side, but also that liquidity needs to have excitement behind it. More than 90% of alts will disappear. I agree. Bitcoin as the gold equivalent for digitized world is defined a way to store value. I agree. The iPhone deleting apps stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, right? So annoying. If the United States president started a company like MicroStrategy, would you pay attention? I think that's exactly what his son has done, right? Pretty sure that's American Bitcoin or America Bitcoin or something. Did you know till this day that there was a Safe Moon dev that did not get, but still on? I didn't know. No, I didn't know. Safe Moon was an incredible run as a trade, right? But we knew it was a trade. That was actually one of the reasons I made those videos was because people were very excited about that and it made a lot of money. I got it very, very early, but I knew we had to take profits. So I took profits on the channel for everyone to see because that's what wrecked me, right? Buying that ICX before. What's my thoughts on Bitcoin and NASDAQ, considering the NASDAQ isn't doing anything? I think that's an odd question because the NASDAQ right now is at all-time highs. And that parabolic move, this is just this year. Remember, guys, like you got to zoom out. The NASDAQ is up 20% this year. That's twice the average. And stocks don't move, or sometimes they don't move like crypto. So I think the NASDAQ is doing very well. Been following you for a year. Thanks for the insights. New to the space, down 50%, but I should have bought Bitcoin. Oh, he deleted it. But in response to that, you still can if you want to, right? What percentage of your portfolio do you use in a trade like Sui? Well, the trade that I did, like, a year ago, because I got into it just after token 2049. I think that was maybe it was a little later. Oh, yeah, it would have been in the dip, actually, because I was thinking April, because that's the Dubai one. But it's like 1%, 2%. I trade with a small percent. That's how you remove your emotion. I started with $50 at the start and just the same strategy as Connor. As my portfolio grew, I could do more and just do X% of what Connor does. The amount doesn't matter. Exactly. Love that. That's awesome. I set up a automatic weekly buy for my fiance's mum back in the bear market, and she has absolutely killed it. $50 a week, absolutely smashed it. Like outperformed most people in the market and doesn't even know what's happening. All right, guys. Final question. Do I hold Chainlink? I do not hold Chainlink. No, I only hold the coins that I've said. With that said, yeah, I'm bullish. I think right now the market is waiting for the liquidity to have excitement about crypto. How do we get excitement about crypto? Well, If Bitcoin breaks 100K and holds above 100K, I think that will bring the excitement back. I think that will bring the media attention back. I think people will get excited once again. So because of that, I've positioned myself, right? Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, XRP. Those are my leverage trades right now. And then I hold Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and XRP in my spot bags. So it's the same stuff, right? The reason why I trade with leverage as well as holding the same thing spot is that way I don't feel bad if I don't take profits from the spot market, and I can sustain holding for longer, because holding for longer is what has made me the most amount of money. Short-term trading makes me cash flow to buy more of my long-term holds. That's basically the thought process and the strategy. And working with exchanges that are willing to give you guys the best possible opportunity as well. So BitUnex, like I said, they've put up the most amount of money so far. So I'm giving you guys this option, right? 60,000 USDT waiting. There'll be 3 different raffles. If you guys want to be part of these raffles, deposit using the affiliate link in the description, trade using the affiliate link in the description. The more you trade, the more you deposit, etc., etc. The more tickets you get, the more chance you get to win this. But guys, if you want to trade on an exchange, I use BitUnex, right? This is one of my favorite exchanges. Doesn't mean you should, but I would suggest checking them out because it works really well for me. So I'm definitely not telling you to do this without research, and I'm also not telling you that it's guaranteed upside, right? You got to do your research. Trading is also risky. But in order to take part in this, you need to fill out the affiliate link in the description. And if you're already trading on BitUnex, right, and you maybe didn't sign up using my link, don't worry. In order to take part of this, you will be pulling it in 4 days, but in order to take part of it, you need to be under me so they know the pool to draw from. So as well as that, you can get 2,200 in an airdrop. All you have to do is fill out this form, which is linked below this video as well. And then you can take part in it. With that said, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. And if you ever have any questions, do let me know by leaving a comment below these videos or below my normal videos daily, and I'll be sure to get to them as quickly as possible. And with that said, guys, if you haven't yet, subscribe, because I'll try and go live a lot more often than I did in the past. With that said, I'll see you in the next one. A peace.